Hey, you're listening to Cracking the Code, the podcast for leaders building and growing service-based businesses. If you are in legal or medical or financial services, if you have letters behind your name that qualify you to do what you do for a living, you are in the right place. I am your host, Rob Riggs, here to bring you intel and access that are designed to decode how technology can be and should be impacting your growth. All right, let's get into it. Welcome back to Cracking the Code. Today's guest is living proof that you don't need an MBA or venture capital to build a successful business, and you just need the right systems and the willingness to remove yourself as the bottleneck. So welcome to the show, Jordan Solender. So Jordan, thanks so much for being here. Why don't you take a second and tell us about yourself?
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, Rob. Real excited. Talk to you and your listeners. So a little bit about me. Serial entrepreneur. Have about seven businesses, everything from private equity, tech, SaaS, and my most recent platform is consulting slash coaching. I hate to call it coaching because I like to work, more side by side as opposed to go do this,
Yeah,
which I think a lot of your listeners, could appreciate. But helping helping service providers ultimately scale, right, and figure out where they're plateauing and help them scale past that, right? Whether that
cool.
be in a people issue, an optimization issue, injecting AI, any of the above, right? That's what I specialize in.
Nice. Okay. Um, I mean, you've had a wide array of experience, and I'll just rattle off a few things. But starting with a snowblower in hand at the age of 13, DJ in high school, you've worked with Apple and Dell in the IT roles. And developed an IT company. Had an exit. Congrats. Like, when do you sleep? Right? You're doing a lot of things.
So ultimately, I'm a big fan of time blocking, right?
Yeah,
So I'm a
sure.
big fan of time blocking. I make sure I spend a good amount of time with my family. They're kind of what, rejuvenates me. I have hobbies. I'm a big proponent of you make time for the things you want to make time for, right?
Sure.
It probably looks really chaotic from the outside, though, as you kind of said, but there's a line, right? And early on, I learned that doing a lot of things isn't the same as building something that works without you, right? So you
Yeah.
mentioned the snow shoveling, DJ, IT startups, exits. All of it taught me the same lesson, but the hard way. If everything depends on you, you don't have a business, you got a job, right?
Yeah. Right.
And I think a lot of people out there can relate to that. I don't sleep less, I remove myself more, right? So the more I'm doing, the
Hmm.
more I try to remove myself. And at this point, I'm not busy because I'm grinding. I'm busy because I've designed my companies to, to be consistently functioning and scaling without my constant involvement. And every time I add something new, the first question is, I'm sorry, my first question isn't, how do I do this? It's how do I make sure I'm not the holdup here of
Yeah.
expertise?
Sure. Good stuff. So, in a given company that you're involved in, how much of the work are you actually doing yourself? Are you doing something on initially, are you recording it and sending it to, instructions to a team member, or do you just hire people that are experts in whatever you're trying to accomplish?
That's a great question because up until maybe a couple weeks ago, I was constantly thinking like I gotta always have that talent pipeline going,
Mhm.
and that's not wrong. I think you always need two types of pipelines in every business for it to thrive. You need a revenue pipeline, right, like your sales pipeline, and you need a talent pipeline. I've taken a different approach recently with doing personality testing, which is pretty cool, and having people that I know are super successful take that test and saying, all right, well, what's the archetype I want for this role for the next one? And I'll go out and
Yeah.
find that archetype, which is interesting. But early on, to answer your question, I'll touch almost everything, but not
Hmm.
to own it long term. If I'm doing the work myself, it's intentional. I'm not just executing, I'm extracting right data from that. Like I'll do it once, record how I think through it, maybe audit that recording, do another SOP where I make certain decisions, look for edge cases, and slowly make a playbook. And
Yeah.
I train people how to do that now because it's become very efficient, right? So from there, it really depends on the work. If it's repeatable and it gets documented and automated, if it requires judgment, it gets delegated with context, not just instructions. And I'm really deliberate
Yeah.
about transferring how I think, not just what I do.
Yeah. Huge. And I have a VA, and whenever I'm building something new, I run through the first 2 3 times
Yep.
recording it, the things edge cases that you're talking about, and it's amazing how quickly you can extract yourself from being the bottleneck. Let train people to make decisions, not just do the tasks, and that's cool. What what is you've built things from the ground up. You've jumped into things and helped them grow and exited. What is an operational mistake that you see even successful entrepreneurs making that keeps them trapped, kind of doing the day-to-day role?
Oh my God, if I had a nickel. Um, this this is trying to think of like the most common one because they're all right. Here.
Just go
So
through a list.
the
Yeah, what
yeah,
up?
I mean the list, man. I mean, I feel like freaking Santa Claus. So the biggest mistake, even the most like very successful entrepreneurs make, is they delegate tasks, but they keep ownership of the decisions. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, right, they'll hand off the work, but every edge case approval exception still comes back to them. So on paper, it looks like they've delegated, right? It looks like, oh, I've handed this off. But in reality,
Hmm.
the team can't move without permission. And that's how founders stay
Yeah.
trapped in this day-to-day nonsense without realizing it. And what actually keeps them stuck is a belief that judgment can't be taught. They think
Hmm.
I have good instincts or it's faster if I just do it. But judgment is teachable when you document how you think, not just what you do. So you talked
Yeah.
about that VA earlier, right? You know,
Right.
I almost I almost never hire experts and disappear immediately. That's how founders accidentally become the bottleneck again. It's going to come back
Right.
around to you, right? So
Hmm.
I want to understand the workflow first so I know what good actually looks like. And once that's clear, I can hire great people and get out of the way.
Hmm. So that informs your, you borrow the phrase "work on the business, not in it." Um, and at what revenue threshold does this become like non-negotiable? You literally cannot grow if you don't like back up from the day to day.
What revenue threshold? That's a tough question because if you had asked me this question 5, 10 years ago, I would have said like a million. And
Yeah,
if you ask me now, I would say I've seen because I'm a part of EO, right? I look at
yeah, sure.
entrepreneurs organization, and I oversee some mentees in EOA, Entrepreneurs Organization Accelerator. If you're not doing that, you should be. If you're under a million, get you where you want to go.
Nice.
But little note for them. But I don't think it's a revenue number. It's and that's where people get tripped up, right? I've seen half million
Hmm.
dollar businesses completely founder dependent and $5 million businesses that move without the owner. The real threshold, I don't think, is the revenue, it's complexity. The moment decisions, approvals, and like context start stacking up faster than you could process on your own, backing up becomes non-negotiable. And what usually
Yeah.
happens is these entrepreneurs, your listeners, right? They wait for some mythical milestone to happen. Once we hit a million, then I'll step back, but by then you've already hard coded yourself into every single workflow, every process. And the higher the revenue, the more painful it is to get out.
Hmm.
It's a double-edged sword. I mean, you got to start doing this from the jump.
Yeah. So how does somebody? So we do. We a lot of our listeners are they sell their knowledge or their education for a living. They're doctors, they're lawyers, they're technical consultants, I guess. And they start out as the face of the business. They go hang out there at Shingle. They are the lawyer in their solo firm. But eventually they start to realize, hey, I need a paralegal, I need a PI, I need a whatever. And it needs some help if we're going to grow because they realize my time is more valuable. I can pay somebody to do the things that I don't have time to do. But how so say somebody's 5 years in, they're sitting at a 2 3 4 million dollar business, but they've had these 5 years of poor process, poor planning. and people just jump in to try to help, but there's no documentation. How do you now take a step back and say, let's organize this better so that I can truly step away from being the bottleneck?
I think a lot of this has to start with what knowledge base you're bringing employees in on. Say you want to bring in a paralegal or the PI or an assistant. It's incredibly common, especially in expertise-led businesses, like you're saying, right? And the first thing they say
Mm,
is nothing is broken. You just outgrew the way the business is built. So we talk about knowledge
yeah.
base a little bit. And when someone, a person, right, when the entrepreneur is the product, speed beats process early,
Mm, hmm.
right? That's normal. In the mistake is thinking you missed your chance to fix it. You didn't. You can still fix this, right? Out of 5 million, 10 million, 15 million, however complex your business is, you can still fix this. The way out isn't to stop everything and redesign the company. It's to slow the founder down just enough to extract what's already working. Slow down to scale, right? You start picking one area that creates the most drag on your time, not the whole business. Then you do something simple but uncomfortable. You do the work one more time and you narrate it. And you're not
Hmm.
used to that, but you narrate it, you record yourself on video, you take your iPhone, you set it up, right? Whatever it is, you get yourself on webcam, you explain why you made that call, what would have changed in your decision, what an edge case looks like. I did this because this weird thing happened. That becomes the
Hmm.
foundation for all the documentation, not perfect SOPs, but just captured thinking at this point. And
Yeah.
from there, you train people on outcomes, not instructions. You tell them, here's what good looks like. Here's when to escalate. Here's when you don't need me. And that's how you rebuild trust in your own system without blowing things up. So
Yeah.
you talk about when to bring somebody on and how to train them effectively and how you pull yourself out. Well, it all starts with giving them that knowledge base where you've done the uncomfortable thing and you've narrated and you've given that information and passed it along.
Hey, this is Rob Riggs, and I wanted to take just a second to tell you about Code Conspirators, our sponsor here. And we are a technology focused performance marketing agency serving professional service firms. So that's legal, medical, financial, engineering. If you take a test to do what you do for a living, we help you grow your practice with websites and apps and software and performance marketing. That's organic, paid ads, retargeting, conversion optimization. And we're also doing a whole host of things with CRM, AI, and automation that's been bringing our clients tremendous value. If you're curious at all, go to codeconspirators.com to learn more. Now back to the show. That's such a huge thing because you can't outsource the thinking. You can outsource the work, right?
Yep.
But the as you train the thought process, that's where you really start to see that growth. You've got a process, I guess, that you've called the repetitive task audit, that I think lends itself well to this conversation.
Sure.
What you want to talk us through that?
Yeah. What is the 10,000 task audit you're talking about?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So the 10,000 task audit is figuring out what you're doing in a day, right? We talk about narrating and recording yourself and figuring out specifically where your time is going. And this is exactly what most founders miss. And I kind of put this together just I mean, you can go to my website, jordansolender.com and download this, right? It's free. The idea is simple though. If you zoom out, every business is just a collection of tasks, thousands of them. Most founders don't
Mhm.
even realize they're personally touching way more of those tasks than they actually should be. Not because they want to, but because no one ever made them visible. So you're off
Yeah.
in this background doing all these things that nobody even knew you were doing,
Hmm.
right? So that's in this task audit, that's how we surface that, the 10,000 task audit. So for a short window of time, usually 2 to 3 weeks, you track everything that crosses your desk. Every decision, every message, every approval, every quick question, not to judge it, just to see it. And once it's all visible, patterns show up really fast. And I mean, I did this on a yellow legal pad the first 2, 3 weeks, a couple years back. Um, I have clients that are doing in my coaching program that are doing this in Google Sheets. I have some that are taking it in voice notes and then uploading it to ChatGPT. But ultimately, you're going to start seeing which tasks are super repetitive, which require judgment, which require pure, which are just pure noise. And that's the unlock right there, right?
Yeah.
Repetitive tasks get documented and automated. Judgment-based tasks get documented and delegated with context. And all the noise gets eliminated entirely. You got a VA, you're training your VA. And
Yeah.
what surprises people the most is how quickly this changes behavior. The entrepreneur, the people that are leading your listeners here that are leading these service-based businesses, they realize I'm not busy because the business is complex. I'm busy because I'm still in the middle of these 10,000 tiny decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Probably a couple months ago, I went through an exercise. I went to a conference, and they challenged me to look at where I was spending my time. And I installed it's a combination, two apps, like Clockify, and then and something else. It literally
Sure.
records my screen, which tab I'm active on in Google Chrome or Slack or whatever. And it's incredible how much of my day just goes by, like just task switching, code switching, etc. Um, and just having visibility of that helps. But what I'm working to do is to start identifying the low priority things, the things I can shove off onto somebody with training, of course. But is there somebody at a $2 to $3 million revenue mark? They're overwhelmed. They're working 70-hour weeks. What's the 90-day roadmap to kind of really document that, to hand it off and to check? You're never going to hand everything off without some follow-up. Do you have kind of that worked into your task audit?
Well, so what you're actually talking about right there is my coaching program.
Okay.
So in the coaching program, it's actually really simple. So the first 30 days, no matter what, we don't let anybody just jump in. I'm not selling a course. I'm not
Mhm.
selling a how-to document, right? That's not what I'm doing. This is real results for real founders, real entrepreneurs that want to scale and get out of the way and let their business and get their time back, right? Get some freedom with their families, right? Or to do whatever the hell you want to do, but you already
Yeah.
did all this complex stuff, so now let's make the most of it. So the first thing that we do is an audit. We call it the bottle breaker audit. It's 30 days. For 30 days, we're going to get you for 90 minutes each week, me and my team. We're going to
Hmm.
get you on a Zoom. We're going to question everything, right? First, we're going to go through sales, marketing, finance, HR, operations, everything. We're going to figure out all the ways and places you have leakage in time. We're going to figure out where you might be some wasting some money, where you could automate, where you can inject AI, where you have opportunities to hand things off and delegate. We're going to do all these things. Okay.
Hmm.
So we're going to do all these things. And then from there, once we get through that 30-day audit, you have an option. We have a done for you model where my team will come in and build the AI bots into your business, right?
Yes.
We will build the automations. We will build, the onboarding, offboarding forms and optimizations, and customer BD, whatever it may be. And then
Hmm.
we also have a do it with you option where you do it yourself. You take your time and you have access to me and my team if you run into roadblocks, right?
Yeah.
So that's what that looks like. And so over the first 30 days, we're just auditing. Now, if you want to take the audit because it's super valuable in itself and just go out there and try to figure it out, that's cool. I mean, do your
Yeah.
thing, right? It's valuable in itself, right? I would have killed for something like this if I had known about it, when I was in my early 30s. It would have
Hmm.
saved me a lot of time and probably close to $1 million.
Yeah, sure.
That being said, though, for businesses and owners who want to scale, for founders who actually want more freedom and they want to get out of the way to let their team do what they hired them to do, they pick one of those options. We call it Apex Elite, which is, the done for you option. And then we call it the base builder, right? Which is the do it alongside you option.
Hmm.
And we have clients that have gone through this cycle multiple times now, right? They'll go through the
Yeah.
audit again. Once we figure out and do everything that we said we were going to fix in the audit, we'll do it again and we'll just keep running it
Hmm.
back. So
Yeah, because you never graduate, right? Now everything's automated, and yeah, it's always you're always going through cycles of improvement. Yeah, so interesting. Where can somebody find out more? Is that audit assessment free? Is that something somebody could take on their own, or do they have to involve you?
they have to involve us.
Okay.
Go to jordansolender.com, fill out the form, go to business coaching, fill out the form, say you want to work with us. We'll get back to you same day, obviously. And because we have an AI bot that schedules those,
You do.
we'll get you in on a meeting. We'll figure out what works best for you, and we'll get an audit going. But it is a paid audit.
Sure.
It's super low barrier to entry. We're talking about a couple $1,000s, and
Okay.
then from there you can pick: do you want to do it yourself, or do you want us to do it for you? But it's
Mhm.
never over, like you said, right? With new revenue comes
Yeah.
new challenges. With more customers comes more complexity. So it's never over.
That's the thing. And what got you to 1 million is not going to get you to five, beyond, right?
Correct.
Um,
Yep.
so yeah, that's yeah. So yeah, it's such a critical thought process to implement in your own practice. No matter what kind of business you're in, no matter what size you're in, you're always you should be looking to improve and figure out where the opportunities for bottleneck are, and how you shed those before they become a problem.
Yep.
Cool. Is there, I mean, our audience, you've kind of talked through, a lot of what you focus on. Is there something we haven't covered that you think would be a help, to somebody that's, $2 million business that may be struggling, or to somebody that is ready to take that next step, in getting control of their system, of their business, et cetera?
So, I mean, a few things, right? The first and foremost, what you mentioned, what got you to 1 million won't get you to 5 or 10, right? What gets you to
Mhm.
1 million in any business is grind.
Yeah.
Grind gets you to 1 million. What gets you to 10 million is delegation. From there,
Mm-hmm.
from everything above, it's strategy and automation, right? So most founders and entrepreneurs, right? I think they think bottlenecks show up as problems. In reality, bottlenecks usually show up as success, right? More clients,
Mm,
more revenue, more people, more decisions. So they don't feel urgent until you're already exhausted. The
yeah.
mistake is waiting until something is broken to fix it.
Hmm.
And the real opportunity is catching bottlenecks while things are working. When the business is growing, cash is coming in, but you're starting to feel stretched. And that's the moment to step back and design, not grind harder.
Mm, hmm.
You know, the last big thing I'll say is, especially to your audience, right, who is, core target, for to work with me, is this, right? You don't need to become less involved. You need to become differently involved. Your job needs to evolve from being the best technician, lawyer, doctor, consultant to being the architect of how work gets done. That's not stepping away from the business, that's stepping into leadership.
Fair. I feel like we could all grow in that regard.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
Fantastic. Good, man. I know we're bumping up against the clock here, but anything else you want to share with our audience? Do you have an action that they should take, that you want to, the value you want to provide, that they could take advantage of now?
I would say first and foremost, like we got all these frameworks on our website, come take advantage of them, right? Like what we want
Yeah.
to do, I want to help people that were in my situation. If you're having trouble growing, if you're having trouble getting your time back, if you're having trouble finding the freedom to do the things that you want to do, go to our website, download a couple frameworks, watch how it helps, then give me a call.
Awesome. Jordan, I appreciate you being on the show and sharing wisdom. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me, Rob. Appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. All right, that was Jordan Solender, entrepreneur, CEO, business coach, who is actively proving that you can run multiple ventures simultaneously when you have the right systems and the right teams in place. So, three key takeaways, I think, that you are the bottleneck in your business, and that's the uncomfortable truth. But most founders are trapped because they refuse to document, to delegate, to automate the repetitive work that only they know how to do. Second, your website and intake process are probably costing you more than you think. If qualified leads are bouncing because your digital infrastructure is clunky, you're bleeding revenue every single day. This is especially true for professional service firms, where trust and speed matter, because people have a choice other than you. And usually, unless somebody already has a relationship with you, the first person to respond wins the deal. And third, systemization. isn't about removing yourself entirely. It's about removing yourself as the choke point, and there's a big difference. So if you're running a professional service firm, if you've recognized yourself in Jordan's description of the overwhelmed founder, we welcome you to talk. So at Co-Conspirators, we specialize in building the digital infrastructure that makes Jordan's advice actually implementable. Conversion optimized website, streamlined client intake and onboarding systems, automated follow-ups that boost your feedback and reviews and NPS scores, SEO, paid marketing, etc. And if you like what you've heard, if you want more information, including Jordan's frameworks, check out the show notes here. And if you'd like to see kind of where your biggest bottleneck is in terms of revenue, we have a great conversion assessment that you can take. Just a few minutes, answer a few questions. You can DIY, see kind of where things are falling apart in your lead gen funnel, and if you need a conversation to help you kind of implement, we'd love to talk and kind of show you how we'd go about fixing that. But until next time, I'm Rob Riggs. Thank you for listening, and can't wait to see you next time.